Yeah, welcome everybody also from my side. I have the pleasure to give a report of recent activities within IAG. And so starting with the organizational overview, you have seen this diagram already from Laura. How is IAG organized? You might know that IAG operates, let's say, in 4 years terms, and the current term started last year in July and will last until 2027 with this basic structure. So to cover all the scientific topics, we have basically 4 commissions on reference frames, gravity field, rotation geodynamics, and positioning applications. We have intercommission committees. Nowadays, we have 3 of them on theory, on geodesy for climate research, and on marine geodesy. So bringing together with this high-level topics, all the topics dealt within the commissions. We have an IAG project on novel sensors and quantum technology. We have GGOS, you know, hopefully we are here for this. And Laura already mentioned we have very special for one of the associations within IAG. We have 12 services doing many of the operational basic work, providing products, etc. And also mentioned very important communication outreach. We have an element here, communication outreach branch. And on the bottom, you see the let's say management decision-taking bodies, the executive committee, the council of the member states, and the bureau, which consists of the president, the vice president, and the secretary general. So to give you some faces, who is in charge of all these components? Here, the first 3 columns, you saw the components on the slide before. The 4th column, there are additional members within the executive committee representing the services. Also, we have 12 services. There are only 3 persons who represent and provide the link between the services and the executive committee. So these 3 persons distribute the responsibility for representing the services amongst them. And we have 2 members of large. The idea behind is to cover regions that are usually geographical regions that are usually not well represented. So Asia, we have 1 representative from Japan, and South America here, Maria Virginia Lecan from Argentina. And I come to this question in a minute, let's say. Based on this structure that is now in place, there are 2 activities going on within IAG. One activity is related to the services. We are we're doing work and preparing for an additional service, namely the International Altimetry Service. Those of you who are around here within IAG GGOS for quite some years, you might remember that already in the past there were several attempts to establish an altimetry service. Several reasons why it's not already in place, but hopefully this term we will be successful to really establish an international altimetry service, and the leading persons here to do this from the altimetry community are Xiaolue Deng and CK Shum. So that starting with the next IAG period, it is then a fully accepted service. Another activity that is going on and partly already established is we are quite lucky that we are going towards a permanent secretariat. And quite happy that BEV from Austria offered such a to do this work. And Martin Senal, you already know from the GGOS office, is also thought to be here chairing this permanent secretariat. At the moment, it's not an official component within the IAG structure because we have to, or the council have to agree on this and accept it. So at the moment, we are into, let's say, an intermediate stage. So that Martin is one of the associate secretaries and is already involved in the bureau daily work activities and also taking work or sharing work related to communication and outreach. And so the idea is that in the long term, as the name says, a permanent component taking all the work which really will benefit from being continuous and not changing every 4 years to another person. So these are from the organizational point of view, the activities going on. Then last year on our first executive committee meeting in July in Berlin, we established a task force on inclusion. And this task force is chaired by Rebecca Steffen, who is also the president of Commission 3 at the moment. And the goal of this task force is to explore different ways and means of making the IAG more inclusive, and to recommend specific actions that could be taken to achieve this goal, to be more inclusive. And what does it mean, being more inclusive? So current activities will focus on 3G topics, let's say, increase the generational balance. That means the topic of early career scientists, geographical balance to be improved, and gender balance. So this task force is already in place and first steps are already taken. So if you want to improve something, you first know, you need to know where we are. So that means the first action was to do some statistics to get an overview where we are. And so we prepared statistics on the previous structures of the IAG components and the IAG scientific assemblies. Well, who were the conveners, where are the participants from, etc. So when we did this, we recognized that data is available only with respect to 2G topics. That means geographical and gender distribution. So not for the career stage. So the first decision and the first outcome of this activity was that we decided for any upcoming IAG meetings that we will ask the organizers that please ask the participants and also the conveners, etc., about their career stage, that we also will get an overview and can make statistics how it really works to include early career scientists. For the current structure and the current IAG components, we encourage all the chairs and presidents to nominate a representative for the early career scientists, ECS, as a dedicated position within the steering committee of their IAG component, which is at the moment a non-voting member for this term. And based on all these individual ECS representatives within the IAG components, we also established an overall ECS group within IAG. And another aspect in this topic is that we revised and updated the definition. What is an ECS? How long are you an early career scientist? Because this is important if you apply for an IAG travel grant. Updating these rules, we are following what the IAG rules are saying, and this is then applicable starting with 2025. So there the definition is you are early career scientist up to 30 years old and up to 10 years after PhD, with a potential extension due to parental leave times. Yeah, as I said, we started with statistics. And here you see the one kind of statistics that we did. It's here the inventory based on the IAG officials. That means persons, member of the executive committee, president, chairs of any of the IAG components down to the vice president level for the past 3 periods. So the first column is for 2011 to 2015, then second column 15 to 19, and third column just the previous term, and here in the most right column in red the current term. As I said, we can do statistics do only based on 2 or for 2 aspects. So the geographical balance, it's the top row, and the gender balance in the bottom row. And you see for the geographical balance, yeah, it's not really that much improving. So it's heavily depending on Europe, 2/3, let's say, a quarter North America, and the other regions are not that well represented. And in this term, now we are even lost someone from Africa and Oceania as well as not officially presented on this level. So there is a lot of room for improvement. Similar for the gender balance, we, let's say, duplicated the female positions for this term, but still it's only a bit more than a quarter. So also there, there's a bit room for improvement. Yeah, ongoing activities, mostly related to early career scientists here, are also that we wanted to strengthen the connection to other early career scientists activities in any of the other international organizations. So, for instance, EGU has a very active ECS community, but also another international organization, FIG, the International Federation of Surveyors. They are already taking action in this direction for many years, so we can learn as IAG from FIG what they are doing there. And so we try to work on really planning an ECS activity at any IAG symposia and IAG Scientific Assembly. And here you see pictures from a recent example at the Gravity and Height Symposia early September in Thessaloniki. Also yesterday here in Potsdam was an activity together with the Gray Science Team meeting. And as I heard also many participants, and you also see here, there is a big group of early career scientists. So we have resources, let's say, in this sense, and we should really work on connecting them, networking, etc., and bring them closer to IAG. And we are also working towards an official voting position for an ECS representative within the executive committee and the steering committees, but this will be then in place only for the next term. For the current term, all the presidents and chairs are also encouraged to think about organizing any events in countries and regions that are not that well represented. So to improve the geographical balance, involve people from there. So that means organize any symposia, meetings, workshops, schools, basically in Asia, Africa, Latin America. And we have some schools already had last year, this year, so there are some activities, but please, everybody, if you organize some kind of meetings in this direction, think about where to go. And there are many active people around. Yeah, one special attention is also to increase in general the membership of countries. So I don't want to go into detail how membership actually works, but basically it's a country membership which goes via IOGG and then somehow aligned to IAG, simply speaking. And if you look at this map, the green countries are members. You see that not all countries where geodesists are actively working on IAG-related topics are really an IAG or IOGG member, and the goal is also here to increase the membership. There we had already some actions, so as well we prepared an inventory. So this is only one slide or one chart out of this. We brought up this topic at a meeting with all the secretaries general from all the IOGG associations, because at the end it must be somehow coordinated and linked to IOGG. And one outcome of this meeting was that we collect names of contacts that exist in countries, also they are not IOGG members at the moment. And this list we provided to the IOGG office. And so they will now take the next steps. Yeah, and one special focus is here in this context on Africa, because if you look here, there's not that many green countries, but the good thing is you see some other colors, blue and red. That means these countries are members in some other international organizations, without going into detail what it is, but that means there is a potential contact already established, and IOGG and IAG could also try to use these contacts to involve people more also into IAG. And with a special focus on Africa, there was just recently organized with the UN a meeting in New York, and Alex was heavily involved in this. So to give their special focus on African region. And my wish to all of you here in the room and online is, if you know any other contact person or have any other information, please get in contact with me, send any of this information to the IAG office email address, and so that we try to get there better geographical balance. Finally, the upcoming IAG event is the Scientific Assembly in Rimini next year, first week of September. The local organizing committee and the scientific organizing committees are established. At the moment, we are building and finalizing the scientific program. And the idea is that in November, the call for abstracts based on this program will start. The deadline is March 15. And also the registration will start in November with different rates and deadlines as usual. So at the end, there is possibility to provide also your contribution in the proceedings of IAG Symposia series by Springer. And for all other updates, I would point you to this website and other announcements. And I hope to see most of you also next year in Rimini. Thanks.